Howdy. Good morning. Hola. ¿Cómo estás? Okay. I'm just having a very painful, slow, just creaky kind of feeling old morning. It's really foggy outside, too. And I was just thinking about some of the things I don't like to talk about on this channel because it's like, doesn't seem that productive, doesn't seem that relevant to anything that's going on. And these are the things that make me feel like I would think I was a silly bastard if I were you. Two names that come to mind, and these are, what I'm referring to is lifetimes of mine. That I'm not claiming to be that person. What I'm claiming is that the person who I was has been told in stories, and a name has been given to those stories. But that's not my name. Two of those names, well, three of them come to mind, but two of them I don't mention very often. The one I have mentioned before is Merlin. I think that's a funny sounding word. Merlin. Sounds like a little baby Mer. Merlin. But the names that let me turn my TV off. I got no internet this morning, so I'm watching Good Morning America on ABC on my one channel. So turning that off before the flipper flop couple tells me about why they're divorcing. Yeah. Yeah. Who? Who? Anybody see an owl? No. Who gives a shit? Okay. Who? The flipper flop couple. Who? The flipper flop couple. No, no, no. Who gives a shit? That's what my stepdad used to do to me. I would try to tell him something. He'd be like, "Who?" And I'd be like, "The person doing the thing." Who? The. Who gives a shit? So, anyways, the other two names that, like, not only my memories associate with, but my memories of telling stories, not only just drawing maps and telling the stories with those maps, but pointing out on existing maps, like on a mosaic tiled floor map. Okay. And I remember pointing out what it's fucking silly to say. Seems like a configuration of lifetimes between somebody like Caesar and Spartacus. See, I can't say the word Spartacus without thinking of the That Thing You Do movie. Remember the one hit wonder movie? I am Spartacus. I can't. So it's fucking silly. So I don't fucking talk about it very much. But it seems to me like, and I've only recently, after waking up, as opposed to what caused me to wake up, I've only recently read a little bit of the Krishna tales and the Vedas after seeing like a little movie clip. I didn't know Krishna was supposed to be this badass warrior, and not trying to get on your typical male ego trip, but I'm kind of a badass warrior. And it seems like, to me, in my memories, that the initial settlement of the Americas, the rebellion of the Spartans, okay, which was an alliance between an island of shipbuilders and the Gaulish Germanic tribes, okay, according to my memory, okay. But this actually bled into this story, pauses for a while and then becomes the story of the Judean rebellion 2,000 years ago. And that sounds fucking ridiculous, but like awesome at the same time, doesn't it? But it's like I'm remembering faces here, people. Okay, I'm like remembering what I think is a fucking tribal leader, and it's not ringing a bell from any movies. Like a guy who I was friends with as a slave, and I helped him get back to his tribe in some forest along a river in Germany. I believe it's the Rhine. Um. Anyways, I wasn't trying to get that much in that fucking story. Okay, so the other one, the other name that my memories seem associated with, but I don't remember being called that person. I don't fucking Spartacus. No, Spartacus doesn't really seem like a name to me. It seems like a title to me. The other one is Leonardo da Vinci. Again, don't have any memories of being called Leonardo da Vinci. The only person I've ever, like when I hear the name Leonardo, I think Ninja Turtle, right? That's the only fucking, dude I've ever seen be called Leonardo. And, I don't know if you can tell, but I am not a Ninja Turtle. If you can't tell, here's how you tell. See, I don't have a bandana over my eyes. Therefore, I am not a Ninja Turtle. Ninja Turtle. Yeah. Okay, so too dry for you. So the thing about Leonardo is, I always kind of felt like the Mona Lisa was my painting style. Like I kind of like remembered painting it. Okay. Now, my wife looks like the Mona Lisa. Then recently, you might have heard they found like an image underneath the Mona Lisa before a restoration. Okay. And then some assholes came out after I pointed that out and said, oh, look, that picture underneath looks more like my wife. Okay. More like she does now, like a younger version of her. Okay. Then these assholes come out and say it looks like Putin. So, like, is Putin related to the moon? Oh, God. Fucking. Fuck. Use your words. Use your words. Translate the anger. Okay. No, I don't mock myself in real time. Not me. Never. Okay. So, the thing about Leonardo da Vinci is the sketchbook. The sketchbooks just look fucking familiar as hell to me. And it's not a matter of like, oh, I could have invented that. It's like before I learned about the sketchbook, before I saw it on, History Channel documentaries and YouTube videos, obviously. The History Channel documentaries, in the late 90s. As a kid, I had a very similar sketchbook with similar inventions in them. Okay, in it. But that's not the sticker. Sticker is something I didn't know about until as recently as 2009, which was the what do they call it? The drawings of the fucking genetic archetypes. Okay, I gotta explain it in my own terms, because I really don't know what people these days think of this. So what's in my old sketchbook is a group of drawings of different um, pure genetic races. Okay, so and that's kind of a misnomer by itself, but like significant hybrids, should I say? Like what I was saying on the other video about the rat man, the pig man, fucking fish man, bird man, reptile man, hamster man. Oh yeah, you gotta have a hamster man. Um, Platypus man, rare find, rare find. Probably not in the sketchbook even, but seriously, mole man. Um, and these are like, okay, to explain it in a modern context, this is more like your spiritual totem. Okay, but it comes through in the spiritual resonance of your genetic structure, and it affects how you look. At the time of this sketchbook, um, there were still like dragons invading Europe and shit like that, like a mixed race, a mixed species horde. Okay. Um, like I mean, they tell you about the elephants these days, but elephants could be the least of your problem some days. Um. So, anyways, what's in the sketchbook is basically a map of how to recognize these people as they kind of bought, stole, and raped their way into European society and culture and tried to blend their agendas in with our genetics. Okay? And it's a matter of the agenda being the key thing there. These people were bred for a certain disposition, but their dispositions alone don't ensure their use strategically by the Empire of Nod. Okay? And therefore, one must acknowledge that there's nothing innately bad about any of these types of people. And these are not common types of people. This is not a nation. This is not something you can point to a place and say that group of people. This is, in some ways, how to recognize an ancient spirit's practical magic, practical joking magic, um, and their influence on an individual. But what I was trying to warn at the time, the reason why I was drawing it was it seemed to me like these people had basically planned to propagandize their own offspring in a way that would wreak generational havoc on the mindset and the historical understanding, the educational apparatus, and consistency of all of Europe. Um, about 60 years later, most of Europe was on fire, like most major cities in Europe were being destroyed. That's why most of the architecture worldwide really dates from about 500 years ago. Because about 500 years ago, there was an interdimensional, interspecies, interracial. I mean, the human race is one race. Y'all need to get over this whole black and white bullshit. When I talk about races, I'm talking about, you know, elves and demons, actual races, things that are different from people, as opposed to a bunch of morons sitting there. Oh, you have different color fur than I do. You're not the same puppy as me. What? Listen here, puppies. You're all a family. This is what I mean by moron. There came a point in ancient um, pre-reality where basically it became kind of a question of, okay, if we're all this color and they're all that color, at the time, being a brother and a sister and their family coming out white, their family coming out black, okay, still related. What would happen if if you had a relationship with God during this time? Just hey God, what fuck, what's going on here with this bullshit? Oh yeah, hey, sorry, I meant to explain it to you, but I was making breakfast and just kind of forgot. But here, okay, so imagine you had that kind of relationship with God in an early time in which time was being planned out. Okay, in which logic and reality and the rules and what's fair and what isn't fair was literally just kind of being developed in a committee based reality. Would there be any problem? Oh, they have dark skin, we have white skin. But would there be like a natural assumption of like, oh, we're better or they're better? No. Just try to think as clearly as possible about the basic fundamentals of early reality. What happened? You got up and down, you got sky and ground, you got dark and light, you got day and night. Huh. So, like, for anything to be productive to evolve, it needs an enemy, right? Demons or ogres or orcs, whatever. So, if you give your people your first, you know, community of chess pieces, day and night, up and down, ground, sky, and an enemy to surround them, they have to defend themselves. A wilderness of terrifying things. What do you think they did? Do you think they sat around and bitched at each other, being darker or lighter? Nope. They did the obvious thing that people would do: analyze what that person's good at and be objective about what you're good at. Now, clearly, if I'm a white person, I can sneak through pale colored tall grass during the day, sandy colored brush and shit, camouflage in the day. Black person walks around freely at night, can hang out in a tree behind a branch at night, and not be seen against the dark sky. So you have an ideal scenario for what? 24-hour security. Okay? You didn't have 911. You didn't have street lights. You didn't have, 24-hour convenience stores with cops parked outside. You had a group of dark skinned people and you had a group of light skinned people, and you had day and night, and you had certain shit to do, so you did it. People don't naturally give a fuck about race. It's always been a matter of divide and conquer. It's always been a matter of outside interference. And historically, there has been a consistent pattern of one empire, the original empire of Nod, founded by the devil, okay? The one who rebelled in the most heinous way. And they have, sorry, lost my train of thought. They have consistently, that one empire, to implement its divide and conquer strategies, to implement its revenge against God's preferred, you know, the non-rebellious children, in order to be vindictive against them. They've kidnapped, taken away, and genetically experimented with. They've crossbred with. They've seen, what can we make this person into within 3 generations. Okay, gonna get their children, gonna have their children. Those kids are gonna get sent back to cause division, to cause strife. And it catches on like wildfire. I'm not saying indigenous people don't wind up getting propagandized and don't wind up getting an innate sense of distrust in the system, that kind of thing. But it doesn't just suddenly start. Communities, if left to their own devices, naturally want to solve problems, naturally want to pull together. This country, if left to its own devices, would naturally solve its own problems, would pull together, and would unite behind the common, obvious American purpose of saving the world. We, this nation, is the cheerleader for the ultimate form of human prosperity: truth, justice, and the American way. The way of opportunity, of freedom, of choice, of capitalism. If you want to go into business for yourself, you can go into business for yourself. If you don't want to fuck with all that bullshit, you can go work for somebody else. Hit the feeder bar, get your paycheck, take care of your kids. Okay? That's what the American dream is supposed to be about. It's in danger from outside forces. Even with all the people within this country who have been brainwashed, who have been generationally propagandized, subsequent to the generational onslaught that was sent here over 20 years ago. If we could just stop the outside influence, come to terms with the reality of the history of what got us here, what got us at each other's throats, then, and only then, can we solve the problem. And Wouldn't it be nice? That's my wife and I song. The 51st Days, Beach Boys. Theme song there. All right. So I guess I'm gonna go clean fish poo now. Mix up some salt water. Siphon more cyanobacteria. Yay! I've been feeding SD Aquarius to these anemones because they seem to really like it, but that's really been polluting my water. And now I'm starting to talk about fish tank stuff that nobody's interested in, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the video. Yeah. Thanks for watching, everybody, and remember, if you are not wearing a mask that covers just right here with your eyes showing through, you are not a Ninja Turtle. Click the like button.